Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm joined by Ian Butnaru, the Director of the General Assembly and ECOSOC Affairs Division of the Department for General Assembly and Conference Management. Mr. Butnaru is here to brief you on the forthcoming General Assembly session. Mr. Butnaru, welcome. Please feel free to begin.
Thank you and good morning. As Secretary of the General Assembly, I will brief you on the program of work of the first week of the General Assembly, the high-level week, which starts on 23 September, as well as some events, elections that will happen during the main part of the 68th session of the General Assembly.
Matthew?
Sure. Mr. Butnaru, on behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access, thanks for doing this again. I wanted to ask you about something that happens in the room, i.e. inside the GA hall. And I know we've talked about it a couple of times, but how was the decision ultimately made that there would be no seats, not even 5 seats, for the press in the GA room? And I mean, it's been said that you can stand up without even a laptop in a booth, but it's still with only hearing the floor audio. So at a minimum, who made the decision? And also, why does it have to be that way? Why are there not 5 seats for the press? Thanks.
Thank you, Matthew, for this question. We discussed, I think, we talked even bilaterally. Well, once again, I know our colleagues in Department Public Information are doing a lot in order not to have anybody discriminated. But let me tell you that even member states, the main actors, they also do not have the possibility. Rules of procedures of the General Assembly request that every delegation should have 6 seats in the General Assembly hall, while in the new building we have only 4 seats. And we will give them additional 2 seats in conference room 4. So I could stop here, that if even member states cannot have the mandated number of seats in the GA hall, what can we say about anybody else? Frankly, media was not on the floor in the GA hall. Even in the GA hall, you have special areas which were probably additional, but that was behind. We have a huge problem in accommodating all of those that are mandated there. And now there is even a situation maybe even worse, that we get some requests from member states that those whose view is blocked by pillars, that they should somehow be moved left and right. That means there will be even less space in the GA hall, which we are resisting, because in Rio Plus 20 we have the same problem, and in the end there are a lot of displays and everybody should be happy. Everything was discussed. We tried everything possible and impossible. Every staff member is instructed to be proactive, and as soon as there will be any space, just remind that, of course, you are number one here because you are working with the UN, but also think about colleagues coming with head of states and government here to New York, and also they need to have a chance to do this. So I was told by DPI that in the end they did find some space on the second floor, on the booth floor, that will do it. If at some point we will feel that we have some more capacity somewhere in the back, I will be the first one to talk to security to somehow accommodate you. Let's see how things will develop. I can apologize and say that I'm very happy that it will be only this year. That next year we go back to the GA, where media will have much more space and better technical possibilities to do its very important job.
Just one follow-up. Could I ask him one
Errol?
follow-up on that?
Errol?
Can I ask him one
Errol?
follow-up on that?
Sure.
No, everyone gets a question.
Just a quick question.
Okay. Any other questions? Matthew Yadro?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you all. I appreciate that. I mean, one was just to figure out who made the decision, if you could say whether it was DGACM or DPI. But also, even if it, as it turns out, as you said, that member states don't want to have obstructed views with the polls, at least it seems to me like those could immediately be turned over. At least journalists could then hear the language that was said and crane their necks. But it makes a big difference to be on the floor and actually be able to hear the speeches and see who's talking to who. It's not feasible to do it standing up without a laptop in a booth. So can you take that under advisement?
Yeah, as I said, we discussed all options. And when you have 130 head of states and government, you think about security, you think about all kind of perimeters, you think about those observers who insist that they're accommodating in GA hall and not in conference room 4. And usually GA has 89 observers, and 15 are permanent observers, which means that they have a mission here at the UN. Okay, so can you imagine the undersecretaries generals, the brain of the United Nations, and they don't have where to be seated. They will be seated, you know, on the seats. If I will take the media space and put this undersecretary general, you criticize me. But they are sitting on the back, you know, because it's absolutely the only additional, not additional, but the only space that we could find that this is for VIPs, the spouses for head of states and government that will have to be accommodated there. So you also have to take into, but you have a brilliant, a nice media room, which is on the same floor, right? Conference room
You can
1.
only see what the cameras focus
Conference room 1.